Hell, you could say that 10,000 times and it still wouldn't be enough.
It fires me up, man.
I love it. Say it one more time.
Shake it back!
Does that feel good?
Yeah, it rhymes. They're both verbs.
It started out, we got PGA Championship this weekend in Oklahoma. Conditions are supposed to be absolutely wild. Course may go low on the course, but wind conditions, supposed wind gust up to 50 to 60 miles per hour. And from what I saw yesterday, every single day, Thursday through Sunday, the wind will be flying in from a different direction. So that should be fun. It should be wild. And our boy Quentin here got us a model. If it has stats, you can make a model. And we made you fellas a model. And he's going to break it down for us right now.
Yeah, so reading up on this course, a lot of par fours. 12 of the 18 holes are par fours. A lot of length too. Long par fours. Using your irons, your wedges is going to matter in this one. A lot of them got dog legs too. Being accurate with your driver is going to be important. And then the greens, ton of them are protected by sand around the perimeter. So being on point with your approach shots, being able to get out of the sand, your chipping game is going to be a big factor here this weekend. So using those things, I looked up each guy's par 4 averages on the year, their strokes gained on their approach shots, their strokes gained from cutting down distance from the tee to the green, so being in that mid-range game, and then their driver accuracy numbers I used to create a driving strokes added kind of number here, and then same with their scramble and their sand strokes, just trying to get a feel for how well they recover from rough spots that they need to chip from, and threw all those numbers together to make a model. And we love Daniel Berger on this podcast.
Berger plus 4,900.
Yeah. So my money's going on. I got five picks to win. One of them isn't highlighted in this graphic. Daniel Berger, Shane Lowry, Justin Thomas, Xander Schauffele, and Matt Fitzpatrick. Schauffele. Excuse me. I knew I was going to pronounce it wrong. Those are my picks to win. I sprinkled Kuchar and Oosthuizen. I think I said that one right. Oosthuizen. Man, I got that wrong during the Masters show too.
I'm not doing number 8. You can't make me.
No. That's the reason I didn't bet him. His name was too confusing. But I'm doing those two to finish top 10. I'm doing Matsuyama, Morikawa, Brian Harmon, and Chris Kirk for top 20 finishes. These were just my gut feels based on what the model was telling me. I skipped a few in there. Just didn't like their names. They didn't work for me, so I didn't bet them. But this model's available.
A pretty good bet for top 20.
Yeah. This model's available on our website, shaving-points.com. It's on the Twitter. It's on the Reddit. So if you want to reference back to it, just go to any of those sources and you'll find it. What do you think about this weekend, Jay?
Yeah, conditions are wild. Nobody's really playing their best golf right now. Max Homa's coming off a win from the past weekend. I don't really know what to think about golf right now. I mean, it's in a pretty good spot. There's a lot of good players. Nobody's really breaking through and taking over right now. It would be nice to see Tiger make a run this weekend. I mean, anytime Tiger gets in the mix, it's definitely more exciting. But the guys I'm kind of looking at, I always like future or past winners for major championships. So I like to look at Adam Scott, Colin Morikawa, John Rahm, Louis Oosthuizen, Tiger Woods, those kinds of golfers. The kind where they've been through the grind. They know what it's like to play on Sunday for a major championship. But with these conditions, man, I think a lot of it's going to be is apparently the conditions are supposed to be very good in the mornings and then just atrocious in the afternoons. So it's going to come down to on the first 2 days who can go low in good conditions and who can just survive when the conditions get rough. So I like
the conditions. The conditions are really going to throw a curveball on any numbers we throw out there. I feel like I'm a little worried about that.
I'm assuming players aren't going to want to have a tee time towards the middle of the day, because if you do the opposite of what you do the day before. So if you tee off first, you tee off last, Thursday, Friday. So I would assume you would want an early tee off either day. It doesn't matter which day, rather than like an 11 o'clock tee time and a 1 o'clock tee time where you're playing into late afternoon both days. So I would assume the guys teeing off between like 8 a.m. and like 10:30 that are going to have like a 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock tee time on Friday. I think that's the best spot to be in, whether it's day one or day two, is getting those early morning conditions where it's nice and breezy, nothing too crazy. Greens are a little bit more wet, especially on those long par fours where you're about 180 to 210 out, and you can stick it with a nice little 6-iron or something like that, to where later in the day it's going to be dried up. It's going to be 110 degrees. Like I said, up to 40, 50 mile per hour winds. That can be brutal on those long iron shots for sure, because you can barely miss and roll off. And then with everything being surrounded by the bunkers, all of a sudden what should have been a birdie putt, you're hitting out of the bunker. You had a bad bunker shot, then all of a sudden you're putting bogey on what should have been a birdie shot. So, yeah, I like the people teeing off early day one or late day one, more so than I like the noon tee offs that are going to be playing late into the afternoon both days.
Sounds like the story of my life. Should have been shooting par, now I'm shooting bogey. Should have been shooting bogey, now I'm shooting double bogey.
Yeah,
I know that feeling.
Playing like a bunch of amateurs. But it should be a good weekend of golf for sure. I'm really excited to see how this course plays. Oklahoma's it's a tough state to play. Not growing up in West Texas, but living in West Texas now. A lot of the same conditions as Oklahoma, and I've played with some pretty good golfers that have never experienced West Texas atmospheres before, and just seen them get completely destroyed by the environment around here, where you do have the high wind gusts, no humidity whatsoever, and it can really, if you've never experienced it, it can really mess with your game. So I'm excited to see how some of these guys do. And
even just the heat alone. I mean, I played 45 holes, 46 holes last weekend across 3 days. I think I lost 10 pounds from the 100-degree heat in Texas. It's just, it's brutal.
Yeah, here in West Texas today, it was 107, and with like 5% humidity and 30 mile per hour winds. So I was listening to a podcast with a couple guys in Chicago. They were talking about how hot it was, and they're like, got up to 83 yesterday, and I was like, ooh, like you just don't realize how bad that heat is until you actually feel it. So
yeah.
But
all right,
it should be a good weekend of golf for sure. I'm excited for it. Tell us what we're wrong. Tell us what we're right. Tell us what you think. Let us know. Interact with the boys. And last but not least, don't sleep on the Lions.
Squad.